Tonight on News 5 Live, bandits hole up couple from Valley of Peace and kill the husband. The Prime Minister laments implosion of the UDP. John Saldivar tells Fauber to step down. And Jasmine Hartin claims she is not allowed to see her children. But a photograph tells a different story. Details of these stories and more coming up in tonight's newscast.
Good morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
Since its launch, over 900 students have successfully completed the Social Security Scholarship Program.
I am Fatima Che, co-founder of Eltridges & Associates and owner of Fatima Arche Group of Consultancy Services. In 2009, I graduated from the University of Belize with a bachelor's degree in accounting. And I'm very grateful that Social Security had given me the opportunity by offering me a scholarship to pursue my career.
I am Renata Samuels. I am the Year Report Coordinator for the Department of Youth Services. I received the Social Security Scholarship for high school in 2010. Upon receiving it, I was beyond happy, thankful, and super relieved to know that I relieved my mom from the financial constraint of having to pay for my high school. It actually pushed me to work even harder to know that I am deserving of this scholarship. I implore others, apply for this scholarship. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain, as well as being one step closer to your own dreams.
The Social Security Board is committed to providing educational opportunities to persons on a mission to improve their lives and communities.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Get ready! Universal Hardware in Belize City is having a mega sale week from Tuesday, June 22nd to Saturday, June 26th, with week-long deep discounts on Leafan and Mayan motorcycles, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Makita power tools, Toolcraft hand tools, Sankey AC units, and much more. The grand raffle with great prizes will be streamed on Facebook Live on Saturday at 1 p.m. Universal, the preferred solutions provider.
At home, on the road, at work, at school, or on a day off, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, June 23rd. I am Sabrina Daly. There was a murder in the St. Margaret's village earlier today. 6 armed men robbed a Valley of Peace couple, Vicente Garanza and his wife, Selfa, while the couple was on their way to purchase vegetables in the Birdwalk community. The men reportedly created a roadblock to prevent the couple's Isuzu truck from continuing its journey. The bandits then approached Selfa, who handed over $5,000 in cash. In the process, the culprit shot Vicente at least 3 times. He died inside the truck. The men then made good their escape. Police say they are investigating. This week, Shine Barrow made a move to become leader of the United Democratic Party. He is a relative newcomer to politics, having been elected area representative of Mesopotamia in November 2020 after several years as Belize's musical ambassador. Despite the efforts that he has made to turn his life around after being deported to Belize following a lengthy prison sentence in the United States, the former bad boy artist can't seem to distance himself from his past. In fact, his foray into electoral politics was met with sharp criticism from his detractors. When he spoke with News 5 on Tuesday, he said he believes it's all fabrication of the People's United Party, a malicious storyline meant to endlessly vilify him.
This is a narrative that has been manufactured by the PUP. And society has to say, who are we as a society? Do we condemn people to their past? Do we not allow for redemption? Do we not allow for rehabilitation? Do we not allow for the glass ceilings to be broken and for people to aspire to the highest levels of their potential? So if you're saying to me that you give credence to any water cooler talk or any such conversation that would condemn someone for what happened 23 years ago when they were 19 years old, I have to question your school of thought and the people that subscribe to that ideology. And I have to highlight to you that that is the problem with our society. Because we have these young men in these communities that are condemned to die in these communities. So that's why they kill each other, because society says that they are nothing. This is discrimination to say that for 23 years I have not been involved in any other incident. That was my one and only incident. So I am a shining example of redemption and rehabilitation.
While in Orange Walk today covering another story, which we will have for you later, we asked Prime Minister John Briceño about the dramatic shift in the political landscape over the past few days.
It's quite unfortunate that the opposition is imploding. And I know everybody likes to say, it's good to have a strong opposition, and of course the opponent would want a weak opponent. But at the end of the day, it's quite unfortunate that what is happening to them, that they can't get their act together. And as to the new leader of the opposition, I wish him well. I don't know how we'll be able to manage when you have such deep divisions.
Former Belmopan area representative John Saldivar, whose leadership of the United Democratic Party was short-lived, has responded to Shine's ascent to leader of the opposition. In a lengthy statement issued on Tuesday night, Saldivar says that the issue is neither about him nor Shine Barrow. Nonetheless, Saldivar goes on to say that Shine will not be the next leader of the UDP. In his response, Saldivar calls out factions of the party that are seemingly prepared to excuse Faber's behavior, while they rejoiced at his resignation amid the Lev Derman scandal. While Saldivar maintains his innocence, he compared the allegation made against him to the current debacle Faber is faced with. He was also very clear in pointing out that he shares no friendship with Faber. In fact, he said, quote, "Step down, Patrick. Don't put our party through this. Seek counseling for your aggressive behavior towards women. Live to fight another day, as I have done," unquote. In our interview with party chairman Mike Perifit on Tuesday, we asked him about the challenges of maintaining objectivity in a critical situation such as this.
As the chairman of the party, I have to make sure that all sides are heard. I have to make sure that all sides are represented fairly. And I have to make sure, for example, in a recall convention, that the delegates' voices are heard. If they choose to keep the Honorable Patrick Faber, then that's it. Mr. Faber stays. If they choose to recall him, then that's it. Then Mr. Faber is recalled, and then we have the Honorable Hugo Pat take over on an interim basis. It is not a pleasant situation to always be in. We would prefer to have found a much more amicable way to deal with it than what we're doing now. But that's the nature of politics. I'll keep repeating, politics is a full contact sport. And if you're involved in politics, it's not made for people with thin skin. It's not made for people who don't have a level of toughness to deal with humanity.
On Tuesday, social media was abuzz with videos purportedly taken by Jasmine Hartin. Viewers will recall that Hartin was released on bail on June 9th after being charged with manslaughter by negligence in the shooting death of Superintendent Henry Jamot. Although her face never appears in the videos, Hartin's voice can be heard as she attempts to confront the father of her children, Andrew Ashcroft, in San Pedro. In the videos, Hartin alleges that she has been prevented from seeing her children since she has left the prison in Hattieville. Well, today News 5 has obtained confirmation that Hartin has, in fact, visited with the children at her residence in Cayo. That first visit was shortly after she was released on bail at the private home where she was staying in Cayo due to the intense media scrutiny she faced while detained and after being released. The photo shows Hartin and her two children snuggled under a blanket, her son hugging one arm while Jasmine holds her daughter with her other arm. News 5 also understands that a subsequent planned visit with the children had to be cancelled when Hartin moved out of the home without informing the police or security. Her bail conditions include surrendering all her travel and personal documents, reporting to the San Ignacio police station daily, a curfew from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m., and she must submit any travel requests to the court for approval. Hartin is expected to return to court in August. There will be much more news after the break, so stay with us.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include cath lab, adult intensive care unit, neonatal intensive care unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
Hey guys, I'm Brighton Codd, and I want to tell you about an app that's going to change the insurance game. Imagine insurance made easy. That's exactly what Home Protector Insurance has done with the new Hey guys, I'm Brighton Codd, and I want to tell you about an app that's going to change the insurance game. Imagine insurance made easy. That's exactly what Home Protector Insurance.
Trimming the hedges and overgrown trees, packing food supplies, ensuring that you have medical supplies and important documents are all part of your hurricane preparations. But what about your home insurance? An insurance policy with RFNG Insurance gives you the confidence that your home and possessions are protected when a natural disaster strikes. Include RFNG in your hurricane plans and join the thousands of Belizeans who have learned why it pays to get it right. RFNG Insurance is a Roku company.
My name is Julie, and I'm a single mom raising a 10-year-old son. I'm the director for a conservation organization. When I started working in the field of marine conservation, it was absolutely male-dominated. It still is male-dominated. One of my first jobs was as a manager out on a remote island with all male staff reporting to me. One of my assistants was very upset with me and actually told me, the only woman who ever tells me what to do is my mom. And I have my son, and I really do want to show him that really anything can be done, and it doesn't matter who you are. From day one, I've been teaching my son that any job that a man can do, a woman can do. And he has learned this, and he now preaches this to friends and even my colleagues.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Rain or shine, any weather. When we go ball, we go Berger. Quality paint, no faded colors. When we go ball, we go Berger. Let your imagination run free. Any color for this place, when we say bold, that mean it don't peel. Quality in every color, lifetime guarantee. When we go bold, we go Berger. When we go bold, we go Berger. Rain or shine, any color you need. When we go bold, we go Berger.
In exercise of the power conferred upon it by Section 7 of the Electricity Act, Chapter 221 of the Laws of Belize, and with the approval of the Minister, the Public Utilities Commission PUC, the Commission hereby notifies the general public that it intends to enact a bylaw in relation to electricity procurement and power purchase. The bylaw shall govern the procurement processes for wholesale, distributed energy resources and short-term power purchases by addressing the roles of the Commission and the utilities. The bylaw seeks to secure public welfare, national security, and services at the best value for money. Further clarify the exercise by the Commission of its duties under the Public Utilities Commission Act and Electricity Act. Provide for increased conservation and efficiency of electricity resources by utilities and equitable retail rates for consumers, and detail the RFP and PPA processes. Regulatory tools to achieve the Commission's public interest mandate of setting tariffs for the provision of electricity service to the public. Members of the public are invited to give their comments by email info@puc.bz or post by 17 July 2021. The draft bylaw may be viewed in its entirety at the offices of the Commission at 41 Gabriel Lane, Belize City, or on the PUC website at www.puc.bz.
We also got a chance to ask PM Briceño for his thoughts on comments made by Dr. Jaime Guajardo, the IMF Mission Chief of Belize, about the International Monetary Fund's 2021 Country Report on Belize. PM Briceño says the IMF has recognized how determined Belize is to rebuild the economy.
The IMF, what they finally said publicly is what they told us privately, that they of course, the history that we've had with the IMF is not a good one. So obviously there was a lot of concerns whether we would have the discipline to carry through. But they told us earlier that if we can hold on to what we said we're going to do, we will be able to get out of this difficult situation. When they saw how we managed and handled the consultations with the unions, setting up the budget, setting up of the renegotiation of the super bond, I think then they saw that we are serious, that we are determined, and that we are focused in what we want to do is to be able to fix the Belizean economy, to put Belize in a sustainable path, to address the issue of the debt, and to address the issue of poverty and the economy, and to create opportunities for everyone.
Will your government broaden the tax base? Are you considering it by taxing zero-rated items as the IMF recommend?
Well, it's not a matter. We're not looking at that at this moment. What we're looking at is trying to to address what is in front of us, the whole issue of how we can get the economy going, how we can collect the taxes that we should be collecting. And once we address those issues, I believe we're going to be fine, but only time will tell as to what exactly needs to be done. Right now, we have set up, we have set our targets, and we believe that we can reach our targets if everybody does their part.
Prime Minister Briceño also commented on the Supreme Court's awarding of $6.3 million to village chairman Jose Ical, alcalde Esteban Ical, and the village of Jalacte in southern Belize. As was reported, the building of the Jalacte Road was undertaken by the Barrow administration in 2013. But as the Maya Leaders Alliance and the Toledo Alcaldes Association successfully argued in court, GOB failed to seek the free, prior, and informed consent of the village. This act, along with the occupation of land that was being used for traditional farming without compensating the previous owners, were costly decisions. The Prime Minister says while his government respects the Mayan people, this is a very large award and one that they may appeal.
It's unfortunate that the Supreme Court decided to give such a large award. We have great respect for the Mayan people, and we need to continue, and we have to respect their rights. The Supreme Court have determined that. That is why, again, we have set up a ministry for indigenous people, one that will be able to have everybody to sit around the table and to find a way to move the process forward. This was before us. We were not in government when this happened. The Attorney General's ministry is taking a look at it, and if we see that there are grounds for appeal, we will appeal the case.
Approximately 3 weeks have passed since the Belize National Teachers Union decided to put its strike action on hold. Following a record-breaking 5 weeks of strike action today, PM Briceño told the press that he is grateful the union decided to end its industrial action and give the government an opportunity to implement its homegrown economic recovery plan. But does the union's retreat signal a victory for the government of Belize in negotiations? That is what we asked PM Briceño.
We weren't in negotiations, we were in consultations. And there's nothing about victory for anybody. At the end of the day, both sides were trying to do what is best in our minds for the Belizean people. I am grateful that the unions decided to give us an opportunity. Yes, they pushed and they tried as best as they can to represent their constituents, which is the membership of their unions, and we understand that. I understand that, and I respect that. Probably I'll be doing the same thing. But I do appreciate at the end of the day they decided to say, well, let's give it a chance, let's give it a shot. At the end of, as I tell everybody, all of us are in this thing together. We either swim together or we sink together, and I'm looking and doing everything possible that we can swim together towards the shore where we can have better opportunities for everyone.
I believe that teachers have filed a claim and they're focusing on the individual contracts in terms of fighting the salary cut. Has your legal team advised you on that?
Well, we are taking a look at all of that. I believe we got good legal advice as to how we were going to go about doing that. And so if it's their right if they want to go to the courts, and if they do, then we will go and also represent our part and to defend the position that we took.
During his presentation at today's event in Orange Walk, PM Briceño encouraged Belizeans to go get vaccinated. He says he already got his first jab of the COVID-19 vaccine. With over 200,000 doses of vaccine already in country and an anticipated 100,000 plus doses expected to arrive in country shortly, PM Briceño, who recently lost a dear friend to the virus, made a personal plea for everyone to get vaccinated.
I urge everybody, please make sure that you go and take your vaccination. If you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your loved ones, do it for your family, and do it for your friends and the people that you are going around. The only way we can control the spread of this virus, and the only way we can stay healthy, is by getting vaccinated. I know there are all kind of conspiracy theories that I don't know where people come up with that, but at the end of the day, you have to listen to the science. We have lost a lot of people. Just about 2 weeks ago, I lost a friend, Freddie Ayuso, cousin of mine. Well, apparently when he was dead, they did autopsy, they found that he had COVID. And so COVID is still around. And if we want to have a better Christmas than last year, please get vaccinated. We are getting the vaccines, and pretty soon we'll be hopefully making an announcement of another huge donation of vaccinations that we're getting.
In COVID-19 news, Cuba says it has developed 2 vaccines. They claim one of them, Abdala, is over 90% effective, while the other, Soberana 2, is 60% effective. While the vaccines haven't been cleared by the World Health Organization, Cuba has administered a single dose of the Abdala to 4 million of its own people. The Abdala is said to require 3 doses to achieve that 92.28% effectiveness, while the Soberana is 2 doses. Ambassador of Cuba to Belize, Lisette Perez, says this is an achievement for Cuba and the wider Caribbean and Latin America.
Cuba, 2 days ago, we announced that the effectiveness of the Abdala, the efficacy of the Abdala is more than 90. It's 92.28%. It is a very important success, and we are very proud of that, because it's a response to the capacity of Cuba in terms of biotechnological industry to create our own vaccine, our own medicine. I have to tell you the Abdala vaccine is very safe because the basement that we are using for the preparation of other vaccines, it means that the Abdala, and also because in the trial has been very safe for the population that has been in the middle of the studies, in the middle of treatment, in the middle of a lot of persons have been included. I have to tell you that more than 4 million of persons receiving at least 1 dose. I have to tell you that Cuba is facing the COVID with 5 candidates in order of vaccines, but 2 of them are already vaccines because they are overcome the 50% of the efficacy that the World Health Organization needs for the approval of the vaccine. This means the Soberana 2 and Abdala are already vaccines. For the 5 candidates, we already have 2 vaccines. Of course, the Soberana 2 will have surprise soon because still we have the pending result with an additional doses. We have a good capacity of production in Cuba to vaccinate all the population. We are waiting to have the 70% of population vaccinated by summer and almost all the population during this year, because we have the capacity of the production for that, and also for sharing with the world the result of our achievement. I think that is now in the process with the World Health Organization. But again, Cuba has 2 vaccines. We are very proud of that. It's not only a Cuban vaccine, it's a vaccine from the region. It's a vaccine from Latin America and the Caribbean.
The United States of America has voted once again to maintain its economic embargo on Cuba. The vote took place today at a meeting of the United Nations General Assembly. While 184 countries, including Belize, voted for the embargo to be lifted, the USA and Israel voted against the UN's call to end what has been in place for more than 60 years. Today, Cuba's ambassador to Belize, Lisette Perez, told News 5 that the lives of Cuban people have been even more difficult as they navigate the COVID-19 pandemic with the economic embargo in place.
the international community, in overwhelming vote, support Cuba in our battle to put an end of the commercial, financial, and economic embargo that U.S. has on my country, on Cuba. It means that the sentiment of the international community is that this kind of policy should be removed, should be lifted. And I have to tell you that this claim is very important, is crucial during these days when Cuba is facing, like the other countries, the pandemic, the COVID-19, and had been a difficult time. We always say, we have been saying during this period that Cuba is suffering two pandemics, the COVID and the blockade, because the blockade is also all the restriction that you can imagine in order that our economy doesn't receive any revenue. Cuba, that had been very solidarity in this moment of COVID, but at the same time had been suffering that more other countries, because it's a blockade that had been on my country for more than 60 years. Imagine what does it mean that a country that is prevented to receive remittance, a country that is prevented to receive investment, to receive that the companies and individuals that travel or invest or have to have business with Cuba have received persecution for that reason. This is a policy that very is a genocide. It qualifies as a crime, as a genocide. In the new administration that assumed the government from January, they promised in their campaign to change this policy towards Cuba, but nothing has been happening until now. We are in the same situation. There are not any measure that you can say any particular change in terms of the blockade. We want to live in peace. We want to live in the environment of cooperation, to live in the environment of not interference in the internal issue of other countries. It was the message that international community sent today at the 75 General Assembly meeting. I have to tell you that 184 countries support this resolution. It's a resolution that was presented by Cuba and was supported by the overwhelming majority of the international community, including Belize. And we want to appreciate and send this message through your channel. They appreciate very much to our friends in CARICOM. We are very grateful with Belize also.
Cuban ambassador to Belize, Lisette Perez is set to depart Belize this year. Her ambassadorship was to come to an end last year, but due to the pandemic, her time in Belize was extended. Today, she told us that she will miss the people and her time in Belize because she had a fruitful and enjoyable tenure.
I have been here, more than 4.5 years, because I supposed to finish my duty last year, but pandemic doesn't allow me to get back to my country. I don't know exactly the day, but I have to tell you that it has been a pleasure to work here in Belize and have a contact with a lot of sectors, including the media, with your channel. Every year you approach to the media, you approach to your channel, and you are very open to receive us in terms of the voting, in terms of the cooperation, the bilateral relation, when we want to highlight something that is important to share with the audience. Thank you.
What have you enjoyed about your 4.5 years here in Belize?
Wow. This is for doing a documentary, because I enjoy a lot of things. People. This is the first thing. Every time that I go to any place, the people is very friendly with us. All the places that visited here for me are amazing and beautiful, and every typical culture that I have been submitted from Garifuna, from Maya, from Creole, it's, you know, it have been I have been very busy, happy, sorry, for enjoying that kind of submitted to this culture and to your wonderful country, the archaeological sites, you are not the very well known natural landscape that you have, the waterfalls, rivers, and Belize we have a lot of options to cooperate, including in tourism, you know, including in the multi-destination tourism. But again, I have been enjoying your country, the people, the school of my daughter, the institution, everything that I can say about Belize is good. I have been feeling like at home. Thank you again.
After the break, the Minister of the Blue Economy responds to the anger of the fisher folk. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
This COVID update is brought to you by Belize Medical Associates. This COVID update was brought to you by Belize Medical Associates.
Development and Housing is creating a registry for contractors with varying disciplines, qualifications, capacities, and skills. This will centralize all registered contractors in efforts of creating equal employment opportunity across the public and private sector, as well as will give confidence for owners in quality of listed contractors. Contractors will be categorized by the following disciplines: 1. General building. 2. Civil works road construction. 3. Bridge construction. 4. Land development. 5. Tradesperson. And 6. Specialist contractor. Applications can be gotten free of charge from the Ministry of Infrastructure Development and Housing for the next 90 days or via email from the Project Execution Unit. Initial applications to the registry will be processed up to the 27th of August 2021. For more information, you can email ceo.secretary@mow.gov.bz or peu@midh.gov.bz. Register today and do your part to build Belize.
DG and the National Bank of Belize are proud to partner with the Government of Belize to facilitate the disbursement of Belize COVID-19 cash transfer funds via our safe and easy-to-use mobile pays platform. After getting approval that you will be a beneficiary of the relief funds, you will be informed by SMS when your monthly payment has been deposited to your mobile pays account, which Digistore or National Bank branch you were assigned to, and when you can go in to collect. You must bring along the phone that the notification was sent to in order to present your account number and to receive your validation code and SMS receipt. You must also bring along a valid Social Security card. After your information is verified, you will receive a validation code which you are to give to the agent. The agent will hand over the full amount of funds allotted to you for that month, and you will receive an SMS receipt with a unique number for that transaction. Digi and the National Bank of Belize are committed to the development of innovative services for the benefit of all Belizeans.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to SMART, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardena village. We really do appreciate it.
SMART continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your SMART broadband with SMART mobile services. SMART, bringing people together.
Hola, Tony.
Hey, Kevin, ¿qué onda? ¿Qué pasa?
Nada, le vine a buscar porque necesito comprar más mercancías de vasos y platos desechables para mi tienda de comestible. Me estoy quedando sin esas cosas.
No, hombre, fíjate que desde el 15 de abril no puedo importar nada de eso. Y se me acaba de terminar todo lo que tenía hace como 3 semanas.
Oye, pero nunca has estado sin esas cosas. ¿Qué está pasando?
Mira esto. Esa es la nueva ley que prohíbe todo el uso de plásticos no reutilizables. Esos son vasos, platos, cucharas, tenedores, todo eso. Desde 15 de abril de este año no he podido importar nada de eso. A partir del 15 de enero del 2021 nadie puede fabricarlo. 15 de abril 2021 nadie lo puede vender. Y a partir del 14 de julio del 2021 si alguien te agarra con eso, te multan.
Híjole, no sabía eso. Necesito cambiar algunas cosas. Les diré a mis clientes por qué esas cosas ya no están disponibles. Gracias, Antonio.
Así es, cuídate, man.
There was a handing over ceremony today in Orange Walk for the Belize Motor Vehicle Registration and License System. The collaboration between the government of Belize and the Republic of China, Taiwan, aimed to centralize Belize's transport services. The new system has been in the works for 4 years.
In keeping with the Republic of China, Taiwan's vision to promoting digital economy throughout the years, the embassy has supported Belize's development in various areas, including information and communication technology. This was formalized through the signing of a cooperation agreement in information and communication technology. As a result, in 2017, both countries designed a project for an integrated and national transport system for the Department of Transport. The project has fostered a multi-stakeholder collaboration supporting the country's long-term vision to improve service delivery across various levels of governance.
The project was designed to establish an integrated transport system to process driver's license, vehicle license, learner's permit, vehicle registration, traffic tickets, and revenue collection. It solves the issues of limitation brought on by paperwork and cross-district services.
Through this project, I'm also excited to see how things have progressed over the past 4 years. Just 4 years ago, the Department of Transport and the 9 municipalities worked separately and independent of each other and operated isolated silos of electronic databases and manual paper-based systems. The unfortunate result was insufficient and inaccessible records management and data sharing. 4 years later, we have seen the establishment of the integrated and centralized transport system across the entire country of Belize.
Prime Minister John Briceño gave the keynote address at today's event.
It will make life so much easier to be able to get a driver's license, to register your vehicle, to keep track of your vehicle. If you lose a vehicle in Orange Walk and they sit somewhere in Stan Creek West, you could easily be able to identify that vehicle. That is what we're talking about, making life better for everybody. So this is a big step, in effect, that we're taking, that we are showing our citizens how e-governance can change our lives and how we can make it better.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
On Tuesday, we reported that fisherfolk were up in arms about a decision made by the Minister of Blue Economy to give foreign nationals who have a permanent residency in Belize eligibility to fish in Belizean waters. It was legislated via Statutory Instrument 57 of 2021 on May 25th and basically reverses a decision taken by the UDP administration back in 2019. In an interview with the media, Minister Andrea Perez said that permanent residents should be afforded the opportunity to participate in the fishing industry.
If they are legally a resident of this country, we as a government, as a nation, we have a responsibility to provide them the rights. They have integrated themselves into this community. They have blended wherever they come from. And if they want to fish, the laws before did not allow them, provide for them to fish. And how will they provide for their families? If they have children that are Belizeans, they are being marginalized. So in the rush of things, when that SI was passed, that legislation, many people were left out behind. We can be taken to court if you are depriving somebody of rights because the law states that you cannot fish, even though you're not a Belizean, but you're a resident. So it's in that context that we have to look at it. No? We have to include everyone here. And that's really the goals that we have in the blue economy, inclusion.
As to the assertions made by fishers on Tuesday that Belizeans are unable to acquire the requisite license to fish, Minister Perez says these persons should visit his office because there is no moratorium on issuing licenses to those who qualify.
I don't know anything about that. Right now, every single Belizean, anybody right now has a right to apply for fishing, provided you meet the requirements. All right? So let's not go into that. I can make it clear there's nowhere in our department that has anything. That is just rumors. I would have wanted that person, if they're feeling that, to come and see us because that is not true. I make it clear one time, categorically. That does not exist in our department.
Minister Perez says that the issuing of licenses is not to be confused with the larger issue of illegal fishing. There have been multiple reports and documentation from the South of encroachment into our territorial waters by illegal fishers from neighboring countries. It has resulted in the depletion of Belize's fish stock in the South, which Minister Perez says he has witnessed. This week, the Belize Progressive Party issued a release condemning SI 57, saying that it will only worsen an already bad situation. But the Minister of Blue Economy says that enforcement is another mandate of his ministry.
Must engage in enforcement, working together as well with our different government departments such as the Coast Guard, right, and the Police Department. So it is very much active. And under the blue economy, there exist vast opportunities if we do it the right way, the right proposals with transparency and responsibility. We are already seeking those funds, which will be translating to enforcement, getting more boats, getting more personnel, getting more machineries to go there especially. And we know the places where the illegal fishing is occurring.
Just ahead, the Public Service salutes those who have worked for a quarter of a century. News 5's attends the awards when we come back.
I strive to give my child the best nutrition, but I know it's not enough. It's also important to protect him. Clim Growing Up or Clim 1 Plus contains prebiotics, vitamins and minerals that help strengthen their immune system, helping them achieve 100% protection plus nutrition. That's why I give my child Clim 1 Plus. Clim, your love, their future. Clim 1 Plus is not a breast milk substitute from 1 year on.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Benny's near you and get 19 to 25% off selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Charbroil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's, oh, Benny's.
What is climate change? Climate change, or global warming, as defined by the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, is said to be the process of our planet heating up. The Earth has warmed by an average of 1 degree Celsius in the last century, and although that might not sound like much, it means big things for humans and wildlife around the globe. Rising temperatures is making our weather more extreme and unpredictable. Some impacts of climate change in Belize are flooding, drought, unstable weather patterns, and changes in seasons that affect agriculture, human, and wildlife activities. What is REDD+? REDD+ is a mitigation activity to reduce carbon emissions and increase carbon stock in the forest sector. The name REDD+ stands for Reducing Emission from Deforestation and Forest Degradation, plus Conservation, Sustainable Management of Forest and Carbon Stock Enhancement. How can REDD+ be a solution? Trees breathe the greenhouse gases we produce. We can start caring more for our forests by planting more trees and keeping our landscapes intact. Our forests are part of the solution. Also, by encouraging the adoption of sustainable forest management in Belize, we can help restore forests that have been lost.
Forests are linked to all aspects of human well-being. Think about the clean air that forests provide, that oxygen that we breathe. If it wasn't so clean, especially during that fire season, we would actually be facing a lot of problems. So breathing clean air is something that we may take for granted, but it's actually something that forest provides and that contributes to our health and happiness. One of the advantages of doing things associated with REDD+ in Belize is that it actually is a great mechanism for us to be able to maintain forests while at the same time sustainably using them and keeping all the services and goods that the forest provides to us intact, for example, water. At night, it's the trees and the plants in the forest that actually release that water that goes up in the atmosphere and eventually comes back as rain. If we don't have forests, that water is gone. If we think about our food security and the food that we eat, the agriculture industry and how important it is for Belize, we don't necessarily associate it sometimes with actual forests. But it's those forests that actually feed the soil organisms that cycle the nutrients and make our soils fertile. It's those forests that are a house and home for pollinators that pollinate our crops. And it's those forests that maintain the water that our agricultural areas need to thrive. Otherwise, we would be subject to things like droughts.
There is hope with REDD+.
Rice Barracks will be receiving a much-needed facelift in the months ahead, with a loan of $30 million from the Central American Bank for Economic Integration, CABE. The Ministry of Defense and Border Security will now move ahead with using those funds to improve the Belize Defense Force.
The loan is basically for citizen security, and as such it will be distributed among the security apparatus of the country, which includes the military, the BDF, the police department, the Coast Guard, and the National Forensic Sciences Services. All branches of the security apparatus is poised to get equipment and also construction infrastructure works.
When we took office in November, when I had a sit down with my minister, we spoke about what we want to do to make a difference. And one of the major things that my minister told me was that he wants to work on the welfare of soldiers. I think it is high time that we invest money to uplift the standard of living of the soldiers. I tell you that the conditions that we live in are not the nicest. Here we have soldiers who leave home to come, and certainly they don't expect to be living in a substandard condition from what they when they have left home. I think that is what we want to address with this loan.
In 1994, the BDF moved across from the original crisis barracks to over here, which was airport camp. And so at that time, I'm not sure what happened with the budget, but it wasn't really forthcoming for the number of structures that we had over here. So throughout time, these structures became dilapidated. These renovations will definitely improve the welfare of the soldiers. I mean, they'll be sleeping in better conditions, they'll be bathing in better conditions, and the kitchen will have a more decent look to it. And these, as you know, if your welfare improves, the morale of the force will definitely improve.
In 2018, CABE gave its first disbursal of $3.7 million US, of which only monies for salaries have been used up to now, and that money is sitting down at the Central Bank of Belize. Today we had the opportunity to take a walk through Price Barracks, and we have seen that the living conditions of the BDF officers is inhumane, is unacceptable, and it is more than needed for this project to take off.
Restore Belize is hosting an online capacity building workshop on trauma-informed care. The virtual sessions, which will run through until July 9th, seeks to empower service care providers for youth, families, and vulnerable groups with the skills and strategies needed to recognize the impact of trauma on their clients and how to be sensitive and responsive to their needs. The focus of this workshop is on how the COVID-19 pandemic has added on to the other trauma that children, young people, and families are facing.
In the past few years, we've been building capacity in the area of trauma-informed practice in schools with 5 different schools. The idea is for teachers to understand what is going on with the student. The student is not only a student, but a human being that is exposed to adversity in their environment. And so now we are applying the same framework to reach out to social partners and providers, direct service providers, so that they can understand what a client or a consumer or a patient brings into the encounter when they seek services. They are also exposed to adversities in their environment. They are exposed right now, for example, to the layers of stress that the pandemic has brought on them. And so we are building capacity for providers to understand the stressors, the potential trauma that they're bringing into the direct experience, and how can we make that encounter, that service, more sensitive, more responsive to what the client is bringing in. So the idea is for them to, first of all, understand the psychological the concept of psychological trauma. What is trauma? How is it different from a traumatic event? For them to understand the implications of the ACEs study. The ACEs study tells us that what happens in early childhood, all of these traumatic events, really affect people's development, their health outcomes, how healthy they are when they grow up, when they're adults. It affects the way they succeed in education, in their in the acquisition of jobs. And so there are many long-term outcomes that come from these early traumatic events.
Participating organizations include CSO Hub Belize, BFLA, Belmopan Active Youth, and Belize Youth Counseling and Wellness Services. Oceana Belize has opened up nominations for its annual Ocean Hero Awards. For the past 12 years, Oceana Belize has been recognizing outstanding efforts in marine conservation in the country. The award ceremony is expected to take place in September of this year. And now they are asking the public to nominate deserving persons who meet the criteria. Communications Officer Martinique Fabro tells us more about the award and what they are looking for in nominees.
The Ocean Hero Award started back in 2009 as a way for Oceana and by extension the larger conservation community to recognize and also celebrate the amazing accomplishments of various individuals who have worked in advocacy, ocean conservation, and education. This year we posted our call for submissions with a virtual form that you can do on Google. The link can be found on our website at belize.oceana.org, and the submission period is open from now until July 31st. So there's quite some time to submit your nominations. The nominations are open to individuals with interest in a variety of sectors, whether it's teaching and education, project work, private or individual research, as well as on-the-ground conservation, restoration, and rehabilitation work. And we do accept nominees from 13 years and older. So it is quite a big criteria that you can fit someone in. We currently have a very diverse pool of past winners, including fisherfolk, marine biologists. We have a past geometer turned seaweed farmer, the late Lowell Godfrey. We also have conservation activists, the Manatee Man, John Mahal Galvez, and more. To note, many of our past heroes and the nominees that we have had over the years, they are people that didn't start with where they are now or where they were when they were nominated or awarded. They have dedicated their lives to their individual fields, and more often than not, they have come from very humble beginnings. So if you are considering nominating someone and you feel they might not meet the criteria, or they haven't done enough, or they haven't given enough hours, years, time to their field, you'd be surprised.
The online nomination form is available at oceanabelize.org. Nominations close on July 31st. Belize Public Service making heroic sacrifices, displaying extraordinary humaneness, providing service before self. That is the theme for this year's Public Service Day, celebrated annually on June 23rd. Today at the Biltmore Plaza in Belize City, public officers who have provided 25 years and more of service to the country were honored by the government. News 5's Dwayne Moody was there and files this report.
Over 50 public officers attended a ceremony held today to honor them for having worked with the government of Belize, serving the people for a quarter of a century. They joined thousands more who have, since 2006, been honored for their years of service.
While Belize joined the United Nations in 2005 to celebrate the value and virtue of the public service by adopting Public Service Day to be celebrated on 23rd June annually, it served as a springboard for the deepening of our recognition and appreciation for our human resources. Over the years, the Public Service Awards program has grown from recognizing persons upon having served for 25 years to persons for 10 through to 35 years in increments of 5 years. Today, more than 9,000 public officers have been recognized under this program.
Keynote speaker for the event was Belize City Mayor Bernard Wagner, who says that public officers have a key relationship with the Belizean public and are entrusted to service the people.
Over the years, you have remained unwavering in your call to service, and while the journey, like most journeys, may have had the occasional hiccups along the way, I'm fortified that the hearts of our public servants are in the right place. I am reinvigorated knowing that our public servants are committed to the goals and ideals of good governance, transparency, accountability, and one mixed with a pledge to decency and country first.
Public Service Minister Henry Charles Usher provided words of gratitude to the senior public officers who were from various departments, from BDF, soldiers, to personnel from the National Fire Service and education.
Public service is not the most glamorous of jobs, nor a profitable line of work, but it is one of the most important. Public officers, you are the face of the government. You provide direct interaction with our citizens. Your daily work is the fuel for the government engine and keeps democracy alive.
Also in attendance were Prime Minister John Briceño and Governor General Froila Salam. Salam, in giving the official toast, spoke of the importance of public officers in the development of a country.
I have been asked to give the toast this morning, and so the first person I called was my sister, who received the same award 10 years ago. And I asked her, what do you remember from that ceremony? And she said, to be honest, not much. I can't tell you who the guest speaker was. I can't tell you what was said. But I remember the excitement and the pride that I felt being present. She was being recognized for her service. And she didn't expect that. She said, when I started nursing, I did it because I loved the job. Every day I got up wanting to work, despite the challenges that I encountered. May you continue to work with honor and integrity. And when you leave, may you be remembered for your kindness and your dedicated service to Belize. May the Almighty continue to bless you all.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Just ahead, a notorious figure from Belize's past has died in Spain. News 5 looks back at the murder case he leaves unsolved in Belize when we return. But first, here's weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
Why should you wear your mask? To protect myself. My friends. My family and others. I wear my mask because I love my grandparents. With so many reasons to wear a mask, we continue to advise persons to wear a face mask properly, covering both nose and mouth. Together, we can keep Belize COVID-19 safe.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear, or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone, so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800-A-WAY-OUT or our cell phone number, 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize, with funding from the Engender and Spotlight Project.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
The story of the apparent suicide of controversial figure John McAfee in Spanish jail today made international headlines. And while his death means he will never travel to the United States to face charges of tax evasion, it also means that a 2012 murder in Belize may remain unsolved. Although McAfee was found liable for the death of Gregory Fall in a civil suit brought by Fall's family in Florida, McAfee was never charged in Belize, nor even questioned because he absconded to Guatemala before that could happen. The gruesome case of torture, murder, and poisoned dogs in San Pedro caused the international media to descend on the island. News 5 also had its team there on November 12, 2012, the day after Fall was killed.
The sea and the sun are the reasons why tourists come to the island of San Pedro and Bergesquí. However, the atmosphere seems little affected by the tragedy that occurred over the weekend. Behind me and those idyllic coconut trees inside that home, Gregory Farr, the 52-year-old Florida native, was shot once to the back of his head. His caretaker last saw him alive around 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. 24 hours later, his dead body was found in his living room. The shot that killed Fall would not have been heard by anyone because he lived almost 6 miles away from San Pedro town. To get to his residence on the north end of the island means driving about 40 minutes through a muddy dirt road, through an overgrown and bushy obscure path by golf cart. Fall, a contractor by trade, built the house in which he died. The police say Fall was last seen alive by an unnamed person around 10 p.m. Saturday night. Fall lived alone and his killer or killers passed 2 doors including a grilled security door prior to reaching inside. However, the police reported that there was no sign of forced entry into the building.
San Pedro police visited the residence of 52-year-old U.S. national Gregory Vayant Fall of 5 3/4 miles north of San Pedro town. His housekeeper of Boca del Rio area, San Pedro, reported that at approximately 7:20 a.m., she arrived at Mr. Fall's home where she saw him in a motionless state, lying in a pool of blood. The police were called and the scene was processed, where one 9mm expended shell was recovered. The body had an apparent gunshot wound to the back of the head. Mr. Fall was transported to the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 1:25 p.m.
We heard that he had been having an ongoing dispute with his neighbor, who also made a substantial contribution to the police department on Friday.
Yes. Well, I just spoke with the investigating officer, and there are several leads that the police are actually following in that. And that, of course, as you mentioned, is one of them. But nothing has been, it has not brought about any tangible conclusion as yet. So the motive has not yet been established.
Following the murder of American national Gregory Fall, police in San Pedro have detained one man for his murder. They're also seeking American national John McAfee for questioning. McAfee is well known because he's the founder of the antivirus that bears his name. McAfee, who has a house in the area, has not been seen since this incident. A week ago on Thursday, November 8, McAfee donated some equipment including taser guns and batons to the San Pedro Police Department. Now the department is seeking him as the main person of interest in the murder investigation. McAfee is no stranger to the law, and he was arrested in May 2012 at his compound outside Orange Walk town. The raid conducted by the Gang Suppression Unit resulted in the discovery of, quote, 10 firearms, 7 12-gauge pump-action shotguns, 1 12-gauge single-action shotgun, 1 Taurus 9mm pistol, and 1 9mm CZ pistol were found. 5 air rifles with scopes resembling sniper rifles that use 6.26mm slugs were also found, and 270 12-gauge cartridges were also found. Additionally, 9mm rounds were and 20.38 rounds were also taken, unquote. McAfee, who had licenses for some of the weapons, was not fazed. The Mexican police has been contacted to detain McAfee if he attempts to cross the border or if he is found in Mexico. Meanwhile, Fall's family from South Florida is reportedly making preparations to retrieve his body and repatriate it back to the U.S. Reporting for News 5, Jose Sanchez.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5believes.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.